And welcome back. And this time we're into another program, another session, Voices. And again, I must say thank you to Hortensia for coming in a day early, easing some of the workload. It was rather refreshing. I did appreciate that to the utmost. So here we are. And we're gonna, without delay, delve right into some topics to be discussed, okay? But then again, bear in mind that whatever issue, if there's an issue that you feel you want to vent other than what we put forward here, feel free to do so. The numbers to call are 4660989, 6620989, 7620989 in the UK, 0333440065 in the US of A, 718-285-6984 in Canada. The number is 305-921-4619. And I go straight to the phone lines. Hello, good day, caller.
Yes, Quinn.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good day.
Yeah, you always just talking about a beach problem with some poor girls, some dropouts of school. Build their own self by braiding hair, tanning with aloes over on the beach. Quinn, it's more than what they're trying to put out there, you hear? They want to get rid of all them girls off the beach. People who build with tourism.
Okay.
I could remember in the early years on the Neeti Bradley, Althea Bradley. She alone got a walking going over the Southeast Fire Base. And Sharpie, the vagabond behavior, one make these people can't make a dollar. When they believe with tourism shop in Jamaica, and the government, them dancing around it. Because when the political party them got big events, they let them use the property free and chop food. So the poor people are just suffering by that twin. It's more than that. What I would like you to do, and I will personally get them to come and win FM and explain to the country. These people save money and send the children to university college from the beach. One of the worst thing Delville could ever do to St. Kitts is get sharp South Fires Bay. That's where these poor people used to make the money. In the 90s. In the early 90s, that's where taximen and these people, and now you see that the audacity to want to disrespect these people. Chap them in here, chap give them in Jamaica, chap them just start to build here. Come and see the opportunity from the weak politicians that where we got, light them out. And he capitalizing on that, and the poor people are going to suffer. They can't shut me down in St. Kitts, so you know what's going on. They cannot shut me down, and if you come with war, you get war. So let me play it out good. Quinn, it's just more than what they're giving you. And the tourists is right in it too.
Jam down.
You can tell me one of them got to walk through Marriott lobby to go and she workplace. And they don't send letter to tourism. I talk about Delaware, she walking in there. And that's the only entrance to get to the beach. For to make a dollar. This is the one.
Jam down.
And then I go fight against this thing.
Jam down.
Good morning, Quinn.
Jam down. You're there still? Jam down. You see, I wanted to engage him. Jam down when you call me. Don't just call and make statements and then let's have a bit of a rapport because first, what I'm hearing now was not what I heard before. What I was hearing before, and you must listen very carefully and keenly before you make certain statements. What I was hearing before was one particular lady. Now you've broadened the whole prospect, and I can understand that. Perhaps that is the case. If that is the case, then it needs to be addressed. But don't just come and make a statement and then I can't interact with you. When you come, be listening to your phone so that you can hear when I try to interact with you and you interact with me. Okay? Good day, caller. Okay, missed that call. Feel free to call back. What I have been hearing from Greg in particular was one particular lady. Hello, good day, caller.
Hey, Quint,
Yes.
how are you doing? I noticed you play a recording there from the Premier Nevis concerning the issue of the fair share.
Cartensia played it, and I appreciated the fact that she did because it gives me something to move forward with. Yes, go ahead.
It's a good game starter, but at the same time, while the Premier Nevis is saying that, I think it's, I mean, I forget think it. I think Kayan consistency, 8, and consistency, the other consistency need a fair share too. So maybe they could divide whatever come in by the consistency, amount of consistency, and come up with the idea of how much and how the money is going to share. At the same time, the plan for that money, idea, was originally to develop the country so that all will benefit. And if the country is developed, our people will be able to strive in business and receive employment and to build themselves and their community. And it wasn't designed to be a paycheck, a salary or wage for other people, for others to indulge in personally, because when you spend money, it's finished. Everybody's job is to make money, because you can only make money up to a certain time of your strength in your lifespan. Afterwards, the money that you make should go around and start working for you. And that is the return that you're getting based on what you put in. It's something like Social Security. You would have made your contribution, and once you made your contribution, you will be getting return when you're unable to work or when you retire. And that is what in a sense, that the SIDF, Citizens by Investment, was designed for, to develop the country. Now, having said that, one of my issues, I think one of your callers made a statement concerning the plastic issue, the containers, the straws, and so on. And I think I could repeat after him. I think the President of the United States claims that he don't want any paper straw. But the thing is, when you eat out of paper, sometimes you start to bite and you feel you bite in paper in your mouth from the paper containers of which they are serving you now. I'm not sure if when our cabinet went together and may pass a law to ban plastic, what they were thinking. Because plastic in every roof and our web in thinking. When you go to the supermarket, all of the groceries and all the goods that are on the shelf are in plastic. Even our money, Quint, is plastic. So we cannot get away from plastic. So why ban it? When you get some food in a plastic container and you rest it down in the car, when you look, all the food is on the floor. Because the paper.
Because, Carl, that's a good question, because I posed it when the individual was here, and I even went so far as to say these developed countries are making sure they continue to make money, and we suffer when they're the ones who are polluting the planet. And they keep...
We're adapting it. We're adapting it. We don't have to.
That's it. We keep, because...
We become very radical and adapting because we want to show that we're doing and we're complying and we're doing this.
Because again, we are fragmented. We come and we go to these things as individuals. Now you hear what they're going to seek to unify? SIDF. You know why? Because the SIDF put money directly into these governments' pocket, and they realize that individually it is affecting them, so they now want to unite so that they can continue to get these monies to put in their coffers rather than say in their pockets. I really mean in the coffers. But they're not consistently united. And when you're not consistently united, these are the things that happen. Here we are now. We are suffering. Yes, it is true that you've said you ban plastics, but when I go to the supermarket, I don't care what you want to say to me. It was more convenient when I did my shopping than it is now. It is more expensive now. You understand? And as I said to him, Look on the shelves. All those big bottles, all those plastic containers that contain
Plastic.
biscuit, all of those things, they're still sending them to us. We're still accepting them. But the little,
You
you
cannot.
see, they just want us to make token little things. And to do these token little things, we have to sign on all kind of things we have to sign on to, that you can't kill the monkeys. We have to sign on to that. So the monkeys must live while the humans die, because they don't count us as human beings, whether we want to accept it or not. That's one. Number two, the other aspect they're pushing down our throats is that you must respect homosexuals and give them all this right and this, but yet still all around the world, black people aren't given rights. I mean, come on. Can't we see what they're doing to us? So I agree with you.
They do it to us because we let them.
Yeah.
We're just supposed to say, okay, we will put it in place, and we'll put it in place. But you know it's not workable in the island of the Caribbean. You know better. So because you live here, you live within the environment of the island, so you know what is happening. You know better for what your people than they do. So when you go out and you come back and you start sing and dance and say, oh, this is what's going to happen, and you're happy that you pass it, and we're the first in the Caribbean who doing, like you come out with a grand trophy.
Yeah.
And you don't know what hardships that you're bringing to your people.
Look, they killed our agriculture. Even
Yes.
when they were controlling sugar could sell all over the world. When we tried to
Yes.
take it over, then they came up with beet sugar to compete against us, and next thing you know, our sugar was marginalized. When we
And
were
then the price
when
of the sugar went down.
Yeah.
And when the price of the sugar went down, and we come out of sugar went back up.
that's what I'm saying.
Sensible and smart we.
And
Sensible and smart we.
when we were producing all kind of citrus and all kind of fruits and so in the Caribbean,
down?
who shut them down? They shut them down. They don't want us to come back with agriculture. They would prefer that the monkeys. Imagine over there on Nevis, they were talking about going up in the mountains and setting up banquets for the monkeys. Could you get more ridiculous than that? So the monkeys can feed and eat and be sustained, but we the human beings are supposed to die. And you want to tell me our leaders can't see these things?
Do what you have to do and keep your mouth shut. Your country is each country is like a household. You manage like a household. You must manage your internal. They say you must dance a yard before you could dance abroad.
Mr.
You must know what's happening. You must have the pulse and what's happening in your community before you come and pass some certain laws on your people.
Mr.
Because to me,
McMahon
what you're
says
doing
that
is
all the
ridiculous.
time. Mr.
Doesn't make any
McMahon
sense.
says that all the time. He
And
reiterates.
the thing is, what happened is that agriculture should not be a thing of the past. It should be somewhere ahead. Our preparation should be way ahead of us.
It should be.
One of the things that could happen, our soil is so strong. When you pass one of our empty lots and growing so much grass, people think it's cane.
Yeah.
It's cane field we're growing. Cane is grass growing. But so the thing is, those people must have the equipment to keep the soil turnover, that they could plant the food. By the time by the time the grass ready to take over, food already grown and already distributed throughout the whole island. We could be able to send food to Dominica, way down to Dominica, Antigua, St. Martin that can't grow anything, Tatola that never grow anything. People over there to feed, and this is good and natural food. But as far as we're concerned, we must wait until we bring in 2 tractors. Let our agriculture department and those who can afford to bring in a tractor, let them bring in the tractor and the plow, just like SSMC did bring in the tractor and the plow, run it on the pier, and take it to the farm and work. They must buy diesel, they must buy other things, give them a free hand to work. And so if certain things are not selling until they get a market, let it be plowed back into the ground, but let them produce. Don't let them have any excuse. What you want to have any excuse? Just to say you're going to charge them duty, you're going to charge them taxes and VAT and so, charge them nothing for a tractor. Let the tractors come in with the plow, land on the pier. If 5 or 6 farmers can get together and buy a tractor and plow, let them do it. Keep government tractor and plow together just in case those break down so that they could have a continuity. Don't argue and try to fight with the farmers. Work with them. There's so much things that we could do, but we are not doing it.
And this
Why,
is
why are we not doing things that we can do? That
And-
don't make any sense.
and this is why
The
we
best sidewalk in Bastille is Bank Street. Why we can't get all the street like that? Why people have to be falling down in Bastille all the time? That don't make no sense to me. Because you don't walk in Bastille, you only drive. Come on, man. These simple things that they're so close to your eyes and you can't see. Imagine the things we cannot see.
caller, maybe you need to be an advisor to the opposition, because look at those issues you brought up, and the opposition seems to be quiet. The opposition seems to be just waiting for the government to make some kind of big blunder for them to.
And easy, because one of the things we have here, we have manpower. We have physical manpower. We have lots of people who have a job but don't work. They have a job and they're getting paid. And I can tell you, no guarantee, every week and every month, you cannot fault the government. They are being paid. Everybody are being paid. What are they producing? I don't know. You ask them. I don't see. They go on a trade, they line, they sit down, they relax. They walk in office. When you look, you see them all up and downtown doing all kind of foolishness. You want to know if they don't have anything in office to do. And when you go walk in an office to get some service, it look like they vex with you.
Yeah.
They vex. When he come in, they come disturb me for. Like they're not saying it verbally, but they're showing it. The action is showing it.
Yeah.
And for some reason or another, that is a pattern come from the top. People are watching you the way you function if you're in a leadership position. How can you report or speak to somebody who is below you when you are doing something different? You can't reprimand them, because you know what? You are not a good example. You are not a good example to be followed. So don't say anything. You can't make any noise because they say you don't do it too. You don't be here 8 o'clock. You don't leave 4 o'clock. You don't leave 3 o'clock. They're watching you. They're watching you. And while they're watching you and you think you could give instruction, you can't, because you're a bad example. Those who are in charge, I think that should move those who are in leadership and put those who are working in charge of those who are in leadership. Then they will find out how leadership go. Because those people know how to manage better than you. They could do a better evaluation than the managers do an evaluation on them. Because they know how the manager functions, that he's just lazy and don't work.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I've said enough, Quint.
You've said a mouthful.
Have a good day.
You take care. Let me see if I can go back to the phone lines. Hello, caller. Good day, caller.
Good morning, Brother Quinn.
Yes, good day.
Master Quinn.
Yes, good day.
Good morning to all the listeners. Good morning to all the listeners. My name is Winston. Welcome. And I'm here to throw something in the mix to the people of the Federation of St. Kitts. As of last week, I started making my mantra to say to the people, and this is a campaign pitch. After evaluating all that I've said before, I am now ready to make an offer to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Should I win my constituency, number 8, moving forward, and all other candidates that win theirs, and we can come together in a harmonized body, whether it's independent, CCM, NRP, PLP, and other independents. I'm only Winston Welcome making a pitch right now, but it is open for amendment. I am offering to the people of St. Kitts a $3,000 just to say thank you to be a native. It will be open for adjustment, and moving forward, I'm offering
Caller.
$1,200 a month.
Caller,
Yes. Yes.
repeat what you just said, and do it with some clarity, so that, because it kind of passed, I heard it, but I want to be clear. Repeat what you just said from the beginning again.
Let me reiterate the main point. Should I become victorious in constituency 8, number 8, and other candidates, regardless they are PAM, Labour, NRP, or CCM, or other independents, like I do, after coming together and the meeting of the mind, should I be selected to be the Minister of Finance and National Security, the Prime Minister, so to speak, after my day of swearing in, I shall offer to the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the natives, a $3,000 to say thank you for being a native of the Federation. You're born in St. Kitts. Whether it might be classified as a dividend or a stimulus. That's just to start off with.
Caller,
Spending more adjustments.
caller.
Yes.
So let's deal with that. So you're saying that the population. Let's be hypothetical. Let's say the population is 20,000. You're saying that you're going to give to each individual this money, just to
I
say.
will. I will even go. I will go bigger than you. I will go say 50,000 between St. Kitts and Nevis. Okay.
And you're saying that you're going to give this money?
$3,000 to each national of the Federation.
And where are you going to get this money from?
I know, Quint, you are a brilliant man. I anticipate that question. The money is there. The money is there.
But you see, Mr. Welcome is your name, right?
That's right. That's right.
This is where as far as I'm concerned, you're already going down a wrong road. This is the kind of politics that has been killing us in the region. So you're saying,
But I am not.
so you're saying you're saying you get sworn in, and one day after you're sworn in, you're gonna dig into the coffers of the country to make, because what you're looking at is what individuals are going to be thinking, and you're not looking from a broad sense of how are you going to move onwards to make sure that the economy and the finances of the economy is sustained. You're going to, one day after you're elected, dip your hand into the coffers of the country and give everyone $3,000 just like that, just to say thank you.
Sir, with due respect,
Time has due. With due respect, this is ridiculous.
Okay, but let me finish my point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Time has due. The big question is where the money going to come from. The people come first. The people is the government. Okay? And there is no exception about that. None. No. Moving forward, I didn't leave out anything
before you move forward, because I'm not. I've said on numerous occasions, I don't sit here to try to be friends with anybody. I don't sit here.
Don't be friends with me.
I don't sit here to try to be enemies with anyone either. But when I sit here, I sit here as a thinking person who has the interests of my country foremost in my mind. And for you to say that you are going to one day after, so far you've been speaking, I haven't really heard you. I've asked you on a number of occasions what kind of business or infrastructure or endeavor or initiative you will bring that will bring monies that will buttress our GDP. As far as I'm concerned, you've not bring anything to that extent. But you're saying without having done that, you're going to dip into the coffers, because here's what you're looking at. You're looking at people are going to be so self-centered and greedy that they're going to think, wow, after Mr. Welcome is elected, I get $3,000 just like that. I'm going to vote for him. But that is stupid. That would be But that would be a stupid set of people who aren't thinking down the line. Look, I'd like to say that I have respect for you, but that will be hinged on how you represent yourself. And I would prefer if you represent yourself in a manner that will make me be able to say honestly that I have respect for you. But if you're going to go down this road, my respect for you is going to be eroded to the point where I can't say that I respect you when you're going to. This is the kind of politics that has been killing us, where people have been coming in and saying, we're going to give you 5,000, we're going to give you this, and they're not saying how they're going to develop the country.
Brother Quint, let me just reiterate. Let me just say this. I could understand your critique. Every person has their own technique of doing things. It doesn't mean that everyone will fail. All my promises that I'm making, okay, shall be fulfilled. And they will. The people of the Federation, time has due when they should have gotten this long time ago. And they didn't get nothing. Here is it, I'm offering them something. And I hope it could even be better.
But you're offering, but you're offering it at a time. Let's say, during the time when certain individuals were in power and they were saying we'll give you 500 or whatever, and we know that the citizenship by investment was escalating. It was at a very high point, at its zenith point at one period. But this is not the case now. So whatever is coming in, one must think about how you're going to use that to sustain yourself over a period. Not be thinking that, oh well, they didn't get it when it was at its peaks, but now I'm going to just, without regard for fiscal prudence, I'm going to just take up this money and give it to you. Anyway,
Brother Quinn, let me move forward. Let me move forward, and I will end because time is of the essence. Apart from what I've said, I will reiterate it momentarily and add to what I've offered. Yes, I will scrutinize the Treasury. I will scrutinize what our wealth is and what is affordable. But if my pitch is $3,000, maybe it might even be more. Is $3,000 enough? No. Okay? But the money will be found. If that money that was there from the CVI, okay, and the thieves stole it, or wherever they got it, okay, why can't I give what is left in the Treasury or the Federation?
Caller, the incumbent right now, before they got in, they made promises. They have not fulfilled those promises. Don't you think that they haven't done that because when they get in there, they realize that things weren't as they seemed when they were on the outside, and now you're doing the same thing?
Brother Quinn, the incumbent, I am not them. The incumbent lied to the people. The incumbent stole from the people. The incumbent betrayed the people. The incumbent are not transparent. If they made a promise and they couldn't fulfill, why couldn't they come forward and speak to the people? Okay, we went wrong here. When you admit your guilt or you're wrong, you could be forgiven.
Sadly, when I listen to you and individuals who are thinking they want to hold the reins of authority and leadership in my country, when I listen to your what you're putting forward, I cringe to think what the developed countries and the developed leaders around the world think when they hear these kind of statements, because they know by these kind of statements who they're going to be dealing with and how they're going to deal with individuals who make these kind of statements that you make without having put your foot even one step into the position of authority.
Can I get into power by myself? The people come first. It's the people put me there. And if I campaign on a mandate, so it said, so it shall be done. And I'm not going to change it. Okay? I have more to add to it, but like I said, time is of the essence. Okay? I'm not leaving out the infrastructure. I'm not leaving out the health care. And I'm going to tell you something else. I'm going to offer free health care. Okay? I'm going to offer 1,000 to 2,000 every month. Harris offered 500. Okay? And pending, if he had won this election that's gone, he would have given 12. Well, nothing happened. The new administration had said 1,500. They cut the 500 that was given by the Harris administration to 250, and there is none. So the people has been fooled, and I'm not into fooling. Every politician make a pitch for them to win election. This is my pitch, but I am for real, and I mean it. And whether you vote against me or you vote for me, I will treat every one of you equal. Party Labour, NRP, CCM, and Independent. The people is the people, and the people cannot change from the people. You put me there, I shall serve you. And anyone tries me, I will backweight them back too. That's the way it goes. I used to play brag, and don't bluff me.
So,
And I mean it, the treasury.
so you're going you're going from bad to worse. You're not only putting
No.
forward you're not only putting
No.
forward listen to me, you're not only putting forward certain figures that you say you're going to give, you're saying if someone comes and counters your offer, you'll up it. And then you go so far as to say you played brag. So you're taking the running of a country and people's lives to the point where you're going to gamble with it, okay?
Because I don't want those thieves and those kleptocrats to come in again with their fake fraganaka bull and take the people for a ride again. You made it once and you're not going to make it twice. Give the new one a chance and see if they are or they will meet their promise. And I, for real, brother, I made 59 years yesterday. Okay?
I want you to wrap up your statement because I have another caller waiting.
Okay. Last but not least, there are great offers to come under my administration. Should you wish to give me the chance, I shall. Thank you in hearing me. Folks, I hope all of you are listening, and my offer will be better and better moving forward. Thank you for the time. Bye for now. This is Winston. Welcome again. Signing out. Bye.
Caller, before you say anything, if I wasn't sitting down in this chair, I would say that I was dreaming, that I'm not hearing what I thought I heard. Go ahead, caller.
Quint?
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I think the first time for this program. But anyhow, concerning the beach issue, Quint. Now, I spoke some time ago to the lady. I did mention it some time ago on your program. But it would take the last time we spoke, but sometime before that, she did tell me, Jennifer Lee, she did tell me that she know of another lady who used to do barbecue who was going through the same issue like her. So it wasn't really she alone. But I just focused on she in the previous call.
But it seems to me, from what Jam Down is saying, and this is why, if you're well, you're not a journalist, so I can't put that onus on you. And this is where the journalists are falling short. If it seems to me from what Jam Down says that it's a number of individuals, he said, people who are using their own initiative and coming up with ways to survive. And it seems as if though, as often happens, certain individuals who are the top end of the food chain, who have the monies and have the contacts and whatnot and so forth, don't want to see these people thrive. If that is the case, we can't allow that. These individuals must be given the ability to sustain themselves within the land of their birth. So on that, I would think where I had a problem with what you stated this morning was the off and on and off kind of issue that I couldn't really put my finger on. The way how Jam Down states it, I know as a fact that a lot of these people, for whatever reason, certain individuals seem that whether they strove for what they're gotten, or they inherited what they have gotten, that certain other individuals are not entitled to strive to reach up the ladder. Unfortunately, it is the way it is. That's the way it is around the world, and I am saying it should not happen.
Yeah, that's how I understand jam down to be saying too, just like you. That's how I understand jam down to be saying as well.
Yes.
Now, concerning the issue of plastics again, and as one person was just speaking about the plastic ban, instead of us banning plastics, and don't come tell me, I mean, not your person, but don't come tell me, or other countries doing it so that somehow make it right to us. Well, me ain't live in them other countries. I live in St. Kitts. Okay, I guess if I go Antigua or other places, I guess I might have to live according to their rules. But I live in St. Kitts, okay? And St. Kitts is my home. So, concerning the plastic ban, instead of us just using the big boot and ban them, like I said, I believe those things goes against the Bible and so. I don't believe, as I read the Bible, I don't see where God gave the government the authority to be banning this and banning that. Nevertheless, instead of government banning plastics, why not, for example, as I've mentioned, have people, since the government own the roads, which I believe should be privatized and that sort of stuff, but since government own the roads, why not have people to go, learn of the way to make plastics for roads, to fix roads, to build roads, which is said to be stronger and I believe cheaper as well. So that, you know, you could use plastic bottles because the method in using the plastics to build roads and fix roads and that sort of stuff.
Greg, this is why when I do my research, I come across many things. Some I give credence to, others I just let pass. Now, in terms of what you're saying about these plastics to do roads, I don't know how far that has gotten, but for us as a St. Kitts Nevis to get enough plastics to say we're going to use it to do roads, that is not going to be feasible because the breakdown, you know how much plastic is going to look. As the young man said when he came here, because I brought it up to him and I said, what we produce in terms of even the waste from plastic is minimal, minuscule in terms of what the big countries produce to contaminate the whole world. To get enough plastic, even what we do in the whole Caribbean region, right, in terms of use of plastic, is minimal in comparison to what the rest of the world use. So if you're going to use it to break down to make a particular byproduct, you're going to need even much more than what we produce here in the Caribbean. So it's easy for us to watch on the internet and see this came up and this new event came up and this new initiative, but not all of them are applicable to us.
No, what I'm saying, Quint, even if we cannot build roads, okay, we can do patchworks, that sort of stuff on roads because there have been a lot of plastic waste, plastic bottles, plastic bags, plastic this, plastic that. Incentivize the people to bring them in, use them, at least there will be enough plastics to make enough material at least to patch roads. Okay?
Look, Greg, you were once in a position where you worked, where you know about figures and that kind of stuff. Greg, to put a factory that is going to make that kind of the factory alone is going to cause a problem, even though what we produce in terms of pollution is not effective to the whole world. That kind of factory in St. Kitts, Nevis, is going to produce enough pollution to cause problems here. You see, when we have a fire at the landfill, what happens when it blows that smoke across the airport up into St. Peter's and that kind of stuff? To break down plastic at that level is going to be no, Greg. So this is why I say not everything that we see we can just pick up and say we're going to run with it. It's just not feasible.
Yeah, but what I've also been saying is that the plastic bans are causing more pollution in the atmosphere than the plastics we're banning by their production and by their transportation. So either way, but at least this way, we benefiting. The other way, we just banning plastic and yet putting more quote-unquote pollution in the atmosphere. And so we ain't benefiting in no way with that.
And let me say this, because I've said it to the young man who comes here with the plastic initiative. I say to him, look, I'm not knocking you. This young man has a job. We get out there and we say, young people don't want work, blah, 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 blah. He wants to work. This is his job. He's been given a job to push something. He gets his pay and he can go on with his life. I'm not knocking him. I'm knocking the whole region because we are not unified for having to go to these bodies and having to sign off on these things and implement them, when if we were unified, we could say, no, we understand what you're saying, but no thanks. Our governments in the Caribbean have got to find ways to bring finances into our economies. We've got to find ways to build up our GDP without depending. It's like a lot of us are depending too much on these grants and these little help out there, when we should be finding our own ways to do it.
Well, but you see, the problem is that our government, like I said, okay, for example, with a lot of these environmental issues and that sort of banning plastic and renewables and that sort of stuff, they are promised easier access. Promise, I use the word promise. Easier access to more money. So they're really not interested in finding creative ways and that sort of stuff.
But they should. They should be. Should be. But ain't is another different thing, and they ain't. Now, like I tell you, our Caribbean leaders, politicians, okay, once money are dangled in front of their eyes, they would do whatever to get the money. I used a word the other day to describe them, you know. They begin with a W, and it's found in the Bible. No, because once you dangle money in front of their eyes. Anyway, Greg, I want you to wrap up your point because we're due a commercial break.
Yes. And lastly, I would like to say, for Gaza, my advice to them is turn to the Bible, because there is the only solution for the issue. God is more than able to protect them. So they should turn to the Bible in true biblical repentance in Jesus' name. And God will bless them and deal with Israel and whoever else. Thank you.
Okay, let's take a commercial break and I'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
More than 42 million cars from 19 different car companies are being recalled for faulty airbag inflators. Repairs are fast, easy, and free. The problem isn't with the airbag, it's with the airbag inflator. Because the inflator can rupture, shooting shrapnel through the airbag, which can cause serious injury or even death. Don't risk it, fix it.
please contact TDC Automotive Division to find out if your Toyota vehicle is affected by the Takata airbag recall. Visit or call us at 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis.
And I'm back with you, and let me go straight to the phone lines. Hello, good day, caller.
Hi, good morning, Quint.
Good day.
Perseverance. I'm here.
Right, good to hear from you, Africa. But right now, I'm feeling a bit depressed because what I've been hearing so far this morning has not been encouraging by way of looking towards a sustainable future here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. But go ahead. What did you want to discuss today?
There's something that I received via, WhatsApp, a voice note, and I thought that I kind of vent it. I know that I'm making lots of preparations for my program on Wednesday, so I don't want to say much. I don't want to howl. Most of the time I would allow.
Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to step away just for a few seconds, so I want you to go right into whatever you want to bring to the fore.
Yes, there's a voice note that is making its rounds, and it pertains to the peace program. And I want to really do some more introspection on that. It pertains to a particular person in the St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force that is probably a member of that program. And it has been alleged that some extortion practices are being dispensed. And as a result of that program, that program was a very tedious program. And I can say that the peace in the nation is welcome. For what reasons, what reasons there might be to it, I hope it is good intention. It's good intention that one would see into themselves that peace and tranquility should abound, as opposed to what was accused of it. Guys are getting paid to keep the peace and this sort of stuff. But it seems like extortion is a part of, and there are some accusations as like this never used to be the case in a prior administration or the prior administration who initiated that program, and now persons are complaining because there are extortion where persons are no longer on the program. So I just feel like to bring the thing, because I myself, I want to inculcate peace. I want to exert peace, a peace that is supposed to be within every human being. I think the peace and tranquility is innate to every human, because the peace comes in from our inner being, call it the soul, the spirit, and we should exert peace from within and let it permeate outside towards other fellow human beings. So I just wanted to bring that to the fore. But except to say that I'm going to make an announcement to the general public to tune in on Wednesday, Voices program, when myself going to be hosting, going to be the guest on a new program. And there's a lot of food for thought. And if you tune in, I can assure you, you wouldn't be disappointed. There's a lot to be discussed, and we want it to be interactive. Except for that.
Yeah, like I said, I stepped away for a while, so I'm just back. I heard a word extortion. I didn't get all of what you were saying, but I want you to kind of rehash where the extortion part came in.
Okay, I receive a voice note that is making its rounds. It has been posted several times. A voice, a male voice, that is disgust and is rather complaining as to how the monies are being dispensed in the peace program. The peace program is still ongoing, and we wondered, that why it was so highly criticized, and nonetheless, peace in the nation should abound, not from monetary contribution. I am not for that. But from giving startups to youths who have not had the opportunity. Earlier you heard about women who would have been on the beach and so on. Everyone could come up with their own ways and means of earning gainful wages. But sometimes it takes startups from financial institutions and otherwise. So the startups in programs that I might have an idea of and need the wherewithal in some monetary startups, I'm all for that. I'm not for dispensing money to keep the peace, because peace is something that is innate to every human being.
Yeah, but
peace starts from within.
But Africa, I'm glad you're on that vein. Were you listening? Were you listening for a while, or did you just recently come in? Because did you hear what I think it was Welcome was proposing?
I was in and out because I was trying to, at the same time, juggle by calling in, and it's the only device that I make. So sometimes when I'm dialing, the visual, the audio aspect of it will,
Yeah.
So I was listening back and forth to
because
what Mr. Welcome.
Because Mr. Welcome, his proposal is that if he is elected, and here's the positions he wants to be elected and gets the portfolio of Minister of National Defense and Minister of Finance, and he's saying that if he was to win, after getting with his cabinet, one day after he is elected, he will disseminate $3,000 to every individual. So I said to him, I want to be clear. Let's use a hypothetical. Let's assume that the country has 10,000, 25,000 individuals. Are you saying that you will disseminate to each one of those individuals $3,000? And he says, I will go further than you. I will say the population is about 50,000. And even at 50,000, I will give $3,000 to every individual one day after I'm elected. And I said to him, but this is the kind of crazy politics that we don't want, because one day after you're elected, you haven't decided or you haven't put forward to us how you're going to sustain our survival over the long term, but you're already dipping your hand into the monies to say you're going to give people $3,000. And you're only doing that because you're looking at the tendency for people to be involved in individual greed and to think, okay, one day after he's elected, I'm going to get $3,000 in my hand. So you understand?
Yes, I was in and out, and I did hear him say that. Easier said than done.
But don't say easier said than done. This is crazy. This isn't even crazy politics. This is just crazy, period.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be palatable by saying easier said than done, because these are the trinkets, or they will become trinkets that politicians would want to offer. And I think Mr. Welcome means well. I think he have qualities, but it's just...
I won't be so kind and say that he means well, because you mean he has been on for months. You mean, and occasionally he has been not so on so frequently, but you mean after all this time, this is the best he could come with? And you're going to say, we're going to say that he means well? I'm not
Some
going to say he
politicians
means
are close to us, and some politicians are inconsistent in terms of, I heard you talk about Azad Gums and the program he has, and for the 2 consecutive Sundays, because I listen from time to time, he has been mission in action, and no one has filled in the void for him. As to say where there is a continuum, because no one man is an island, and so forth and so forth. I get that point that you made.
And
but
this,
some politicians are close and they're missing in action.
And that goes to...
Yet some other politicians, they are far apart from us.
And that Africa goes into where here's Azad, a young man. He's not able to be here, but he couldn't make provisions so that the program goes on. Now, what when he becomes a leader? Remember, we had a leader who left this country frequently, and when we asked him why he didn't put someone as deputy prime minister, he said he could run the country on a BlackBerry.
By his BlackBerry, right?
You see this kind of
the
attitude?
BlackBerry phones are obsolete.
But that isn't the point. The point is that when I'm not here, no one else is supposed to carry on. So there's no contingency. Exactly. There's no contingency plan. There's no, and this is what we're.
And we see it still exerted onto this very day with the non-existence of politicians or the inconsistencies of politicians. So we are in a serious quandary here, because here is it: we have a government which has not fulfilled the promises by a distance. And here is it also: we don't have an opposition, an alternative. So this is the quandary that young entrepreneurs, young people who are going to really study and pursue their endeavors and have to be confronted with this thing. A governing administration that is not performing by far, and people are jumping ship left, right, and center, even in their close circles, yet there is not an alternative opposition. You see what? I was born to be a leader. People, I was born in a Saturday.
Africa, Africa. I want you to. You say people are jumping ship.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not privy to that. So I just wanted to get clarity on. Be sure that is what you said.
You can hear condescending voices of former supporters of this administration. You can hear condescending voices.
Okay.
You listen to the social media; it's all there.
Well, I don't get into social media, so that's.
Yes. So you will hear it otherwise. Yeah. But there are condescending voices as to the disgust of the performance or the none thereof of this administration.
Yeah.
And taking credit for a lot of things. Now, the peace program that was so ridiculed, it is ongoing. But yet, persons who are a part of it now, they are complaining that such practices like extortion, money that's supposed to be going to them, as I don't know the figures, but that money that's supposed to be going to them, for whatever reasons, are being extorted by rank and file in high places. Okay? I mean, come on.
Well, let's say that we don't know for sure that, but
yes,
as you said,
that's why I said
as you said, it's
earlier.
It's out there, yeah. So
yes, that's why I said it has been alleged earlier. I did say it has been alleged.
Okay,
earlier.
we have another caller. Do you want to hang up or do you want to?
Yeah, I'm going to hang up because I'm going to take some more notes as I make preparation for my program on Wednesday.
Yes.
and I will hang up and finish up and see how far I can get so that when I'm seated, it is a wider way of topics to be discussed, to be extrapolated, because we are a sick people and we really, really got to remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Tell Africa don't hang up.
Go ahead.
I really like Africa.
Well, not
Good morning, brother Africa.
remember. Africa plies his trade by being a taxi man, so he can't. That is why I asked him
No,
whether
I
he
know
wanted
Africa.
to.
Africa knows
Yeah.
me. He probably might not recall me physically in his mind, but I've had conversation with Africa, and everything was positive.
Yeah.
But let me say this, Prince, I'm going to reiterate and reaffirm what I've said. You got understand that every politician has to make a bid. And I've made my bid. I'm not playing politics from what happened in the past and who done what and who should have done that. This is coming from my heart. I think the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis deserve a quality of life that they never had before, better than before, and better moving forward. Okay? And this is truly come from my heart. I am no cook. I am not cooking because I only like to spend money that belongs to me. I don't like other people's money. The treasury money is not mine. So don't think I'm going to put my hand in that cookie jar and let in my pocket like those past kleptocrats. I am not in that, sir.
But where you're going to get? But where will you get the money from if you're not going to dig into the coffers?
Let me give you a clue. The CBI brought in billions of dollars, right? And our country could have been in tip-top condition. And when I'm saying our country, the people should have a great quality of life. No money share with them. Everything is all about money today. God come first. But after that, everything is about money and survival. Okay? And for the short time we have our lifespan on planet Earth, I believe we should live in peace and tranquility. But that quality has been eroded and the dignity have been smashed. I intend to bring that back.
So you think?
My dignity is your dignity and your dignity is mine.
So you think there's another caller? Caller, hold just a second. So you think that by giving everybody $3,000 a day after you're elected, rather as opposed to making sure that from the day you're elected going onward, let's say in the first year and a half, 2 years, that you provide an environment that gives jobs to individuals that would sustain them over a period. You prefer to go in and promise $3,000 to every individual one day after you think that is better. You think that is better.
Let me define that, Brother Quinn, because no one will put words in my mouth. I construct my own words and I construct my own sentence and expression. Okay? After my day of swearing in, I will sign into effect to taking place $3,000. That's off the top right now. Moving forward, every month, 1,000 to 2,000 each month. The $3,000 is a one-time payout like a dividend, and probably that is not enough. Where am I going to get the money?
And again, call.
Let me say where. Let me say where I'm going to find the money. I'm going to shake out the pockets of all who stole, because all those officials, elitists, who think they're going to steal the money, when they started the job, when they were given the job to run the Federation of St. Kitts, represent the Federation of St. Kitts, their paycheck was X and X amount. Okay? And they shouldn't have no conflict of interest neither. They should pay attention to the people's business. Okay? How do they get all those monies in their bank account? I know their bank account, brother.
Caller.
Yes.
But even if that is the case, I'm going to let caller who are in waiting, I'm going to let you come in right after I make this statement. Even if that is the case, and you're going to get back money that was stolen, this means litigation. This means court. This means time. This means the money. This means the government still has to spend more money. I mean, come on. Go ahead, caller.
Sure.
The other caller. Go ahead. It sounds like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quinn. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning to you on the call on the other line.
Yeah.
I want to encourage you to call on the other line, right? To listen to what you are saying and listen to other people, what other people are saying as well. Quinn, you made two important points there. One, in order for him to get them pocket shakes out of those alleged monies that's out there in people's bank accounts and such, is going to take litigation. That money is going to be wrapped up. And who knows if we will be successful at getting monies that people are saying is out there.
That's it.
And so from get-go, you can't come in and promise people money from get-go like that. We don't even know how much money is in the treasury.
That's
so
it.
That is showing a sign of the status quo.
Yeah.
We cannot be like Harris. We can't be like Harris and those previous prime ministers or leaders or whatever to keep preying on the people's emotions, promising people money that may not even be there or you can't recover. You're preying on the people's emotions already.
Yeah.
So being in the political ring, we have to start listening more and pick out the sense from the nonsense. We got to be able to take the critique, the positive critique especially. There's going to be a lot of negative ones too, yeah, but the other point that you was making, Clint, was what you were saying just a while ago again. I'm losing it there a little bit. But
I
yeah. The other point that you was making, I remember now. The other point that you was making is, do you prefer to come in as a politician and promise people money rather than to look towards creating jobs so that they can sustain themselves?
Yeah.
Those are two great important points. So I'll let the other caller talk in, rebuttal or whatever.
Let me just define all the critique, and I'm glad for it, and I wish it could come more. Listen, everything gonna take time. I am promising what will be my mandate. If I be sworn in, let me just go back to that. If I
can't hear him that well.
After I be sworn in,
caller,
yes.
speak. Burl says he can't hear you that well, so maybe you need to put your lips closer to the phone or something.
Well, I think I have good quality.
Okay, you sound good.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
That's much better. Yeah, much better.
Yeah, you're much better now. Yeah.
Let me reiterate. Like I said, the people of St. Kitts has do this money and more. I am starting off with 3,000. The money is there in the treasury. If the money was not there in the treasury, how the municipal has been paid? Okay? How these government officials can get these big money that they've been constantly getting each month? The money is there. Billions of dollars in the treasury. And that could afford every native.
Caller, to say the money is there is a I don't even know. Look, money could be there, but a country doesn't run without how you're going to disperse those monies. So the first thing you should.
All of that will be taken into consideration.
But that isn't what you're saying. You're saying one day after you're elected, you're going to do this, and look. I don't even know how to express in terms of because apparently. Burl is younger, Burl listens, you don't. Because if you had been listening, you would not come with what you've come with. It means you're the kind of person who sits down, comes to his own conclusion, regardless of what people are saying, and implements them. That means you are a promising dictator from you haven't even gotten into seat, and you're promising to be a dictator because you're not listening.
No, I'm not promising a dictator. I'm promising what has been done to the people. It's been done from the get-go. Moving forward, at some point in time, the CBI funding that we receive, not funding, patrimony, okay? The people should have been getting some kind of dividend or some kind of stimulus should have been thrown on the people so that it could offset the burden that they carry up to today, moving forward. And I'm not going to change it, brother. I'm not a dictator.
You will
not be immune.
But caller, see, when you make statements like "I'm not going to change it, brother," even though I don't even know how to deal with an individual like you. See, because like I said, you are showing that you will. Let me give you this hypothetical. Burl, you're there?
Yes, I'm still here. Yeah.
Okay,
I can't name that well at all, though.
Let me give you this hypothetical. I'm a parent. I want what is best for my children. But unfortunately, life has been hitting me over the head. So for a number of years, I was not able to give my children what I feel they are due. I feel within my heart, this is the way you're saying, I feel within my heart they are entitled to this, they are entitled to better money so they can buy their books, they're entitled to money so they can get a laptop or get certain things that makes their education more makes them more able to get an education properly. They're entitled to better nutrition and blah, blah, blah. 5 years pass and I haven't been able to do that. On the 6th year, I'm in a position where I say, okay, I'm now in a better financial position. So what am I going to do? Am I going to say, well, my children were due this for all those years and they didn't get it, so I'm just going to give them $1,000 each and not think about the fact that, okay, I'm in a better financial position now, here's what I'm going to do. All the things I didn't do before in terms of them not being able to, rather than trying to see if I can just give them a one-off to make them feel good, I'm going to sit down with my children and be honest and say, look, this is what I wanted to do, but I was unable to do it. But now things are looking a little bit better. Here's what I'm going to do. From now on, I'm going to try my best to make sure that you get this and you get that, and so on. And I'm going to make sure that your school fees are paid. I'm going to make sure you weren't being able to get the nutrition that you got, that I felt you should have gotten for the past 5 years. I'm going to make sure that every morning you get your breakfast, your lunch, or whatever. I'm not going to just get up and give my children a whole bunch of money because my children aren't grown-ups either. So my children might take that money that I give them and just go and spend it willy-nilly with friends. I'm going to put my children in a position so that when I am gone, they can continue living in a position that is sustainable. That is what responsible people do. Yeah, my children will be glad if I say, I'm going to, you know what, I couldn't have given you, so I'm going to give you $5,000. They're going to be glad, yes. But then down the line, when that $5,000 is gone, they're going to look back and they're going to say, man, my father was smarter than that. He should have sat down. You understand what I'm saying? That is what I'm saying to you.
Hey, Quinn, let me get a question into the call there before we get him off.
Go ahead, Burl.
Okay, since we're talking about money, right, and the caller is up for campaign, he said he's trying to hat in the ring. Okay, recently we've been hearing about the fair share between Sinkis and Nevis, and we're talking about money here. Okay, did he hear the AG speak on Freedom FM? Did he hear, I know he heard Joseph Parry spoke on Patchy's show. Did he hear?
Yes.
And this is the most important part of the question is, did he listen to the premier's complaints about the fair share report thus far and the money, the figures that's been missing from the Nevis side? And I want to ask him if he's been listening to this conversation about the fair share, how would he handle the fair share or the revenue arrangement between Sinkis and Nevis?
First of all, I will tell you how I will handle fair share between Sinkis and Nevis. I'm not gonna comment on what Mark Brantley said and what Mark Brantley did. This is how I would have done it. But I am not in that time. So I mean, it's a rhetorical question. I think Sinkis and Nevis is equal. One federation, islands. Okay? And Nevis people is no different to Sinkis people, Kittish and Nevisian. So I feel whatever coming to Sinkis and whatever coming to Nevis, it should be shared, showing a kitty and divided among, you can leave out per capita, per head. Okay? And what designate to the infrastructure, what designate to the municipal, to pay the people who work for the government, and whatever could be given to the less fortunate moving forward. Okay? The infrastructure, we build infrastructure for jobs, to sustain and maintain moving forward for people to have jobs. Okay? Land. All of that should be fair share. I believe the land belongs to the natives. And natives should be given priority. And I even believe the land is too expensive. Okay? I believe the price of land now for the natives should be cut in half or maybe less than a half moving forward.
But hey, Quinn, let me interject for a minute. Can we stick with the revenue where we're talking about the taxable and non-taxable revenue? Just those two revenues. Well, so we can make it a little bit more simpler. The taxable and the non-taxable revenue, including now it includes the CBI.
Repeat that again. I had a loss of audio.
The fair share, what they're talking about, we're talking about monetary right about now. The taxable income and the non-taxable income now including the CBI. Because the CBI revenues is termed as non-taxable, right, Quint?
Yeah, but Burl.
Yeah, we want to keep it simple as that.
Burl.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go there because that's something that we can't. It is hard to deal with an issue from our vantage point because we don't know the figures on either side.
Yes.
But here's
yes, exactly. That's the problem that this call is going to run into because when you listen to more Brantley, we don't know the figures at all.
But
all those years.
But here's
that's one of Mark Brantley's complaints.
But here's the problem, though. Mark Brantley is again striking the people's emotion. This is what this is what this is all about. This isn't so much about fair share, you know. If it was about fair share, in my opinion, Mark would have been consistent. Mark would have carried this fair share thing regardless of when Unity broke up and Labour got into power. He would have persistently continued along the fair share line. But he chose to go on a safe footing and say, well, you know, I didn't demand fair share from Labour. So he let years pass, and now election is around the corner for him, and he's striking the people's emotion, hoping that these emotional passions will play in his favor and work.
Resonate with the people.
Yes, and the people have got to see beyond that.
Because Quint, you're absolutely right. Because guess what I observed? He wanted the spatial report. But after the fact now, he's complaining about figures on the local side of Nevis is not included. So if you wanted an advantageous position for Nevis, wouldn't you make sure that all the figures from the Nevis side is in? So that in itself is a failure right there. And he just really actually preying on the people's minds and emotions, like you say. We need leaders that are going to come in and move away from that status quo.
And
that's all the comments.
Here's another thing too. If, for instance, I'm going to use a hypothetical. Let's say I was in Mark's positions, right? I would have not tried. Yes, I agree with him when he says you don't want to be in a position where you have animosity between the federal and yourself. I agree with him on that. But here's the rub, though. You are not the incumbent. You're the incumbent on Nevis, but a part of the federal government is to look after the federal expenses. So if I were Mark, I would have dealt with Labour as if though I am the opposition, to the extent where whenever we sit down and we're having a discussion, I speak to you as someone who is your peer, as someone who's going to come rational and blah, blah, blah. But whenever we're not in a discussion, there's talking in the background.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Whenever we're not in a discussion on a governmental level, I'm going to deal with you as if though we're opposition, because in truth and in fact, we are. But that is where Mark made the mistake. He compromised himself, as far as I'm concerned, and in compromising himself, he put himself in a position where the incumbent then has something to hold against him. And now he's finding that time is running out, so he wants to go back and be the opposition again. This is what he's doing, you know.
Definitely. Like I say, I'm going to say it again. If you want an advantageous position for Nevis to come out with this fair share, you will make sure all the figures are in from the Nevis side, and he didn't do that. And now he's complaining about it. So that's unacceptable. So going forward, man, we just need somebody or persons in Nevis to manage Nevis's money, because if we're going to complain about money coming over from Sinkis, and then Sinkis is giving us the money, and we not spending that money right, mismanaging that money, then we need new persons to manage Nevis's money. And I'll leave it there. I'll ask Nevis people to start waking up and start paying attention. And I personally, man, if the premier knows he's going to get to a point where the masses of the people are going to go against him, he should just resign and give it up and go and enjoy his retirement like everybody else.
Okay.
I'll leave it there for now. That's my piece, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Welcome. You have anything to say?
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up. First of all, I am not buying votes by making an offer to the people of $3,000.
But in my opinion, that is what you're doing.
This is after. This is. I am not buying votes.
That is what you're doing.
I am not going around and handing money hand to hand to say vote.
No,
for me.
but that is what you're doing. But that is what you're doing. You're saying elect me and you will get this money.
Well, I say in an innocent way.
In an innocent way. Oh.
Due to you. It is due to you. This is due to you because I haven't seen it done. And why wait down the line to make men to a promise that I promised? Give them right away. I'll sign it into action. And it shall, and that's what will be done. I don't expect after 4 days come for $3,000. Sign up. You are a native. Proof that you are a native. You will get your money in the due time or the process time.
Okay.
So there are candidates.
I want welcome.
I'm not doing that.
Welcome. I want you to wrap up. You can call back again. I'm due a commercial break.
Okay. Let me wrap up. In the light of all my commentaries, I am innocent. My heart is in a good place. My mind is in a good place. And I am not into bribes, fake nor phony. I will deliver what the people deserve, and anyone who could make amends for better moving forward, bring it on. Thank you for the time. Bye for now.
Yeah, I see my phone lighting up, but I'm due a commercial break. So caller, try to be the first after the commercial break, and I'll engage you, okay?
Found the sound, 98.9.
More than 42 million cars from 19 different car companies are being recalled for faulty airbag inflators. Repairs are fast, easy, and free. The problem isn't with the airbag, it's with the airbag inflator. Because the inflator can rupture, shooting shrapnel through the airbag, which can cause serious injury or even death. Don't risk it, fix it.
Please contact TDC Automotive Division to find out if your Toyota vehicle is affected by the Takata airbag recall. Visit or call us at 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis.
Ready to save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, earn more, only only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings.
Flow customers, unlock big prepaid rewards every time you activate a prepaid plan. Activate a 7-day plan or higher and earn points towards your rewards. Activate again, earn even more points. Activate next week, well, you get the picture. The more you activate, the more extra data and prizes you earn. Get in on the big prepaid rewards. Dial *129 # or visit topupflow.com to activate a prepaid plan today.
And I'm back with you. The time is approximately 11:30, and it is on days like these that I sometimes regret being a grown-up, because we the elders, we the older folks tend to say, oh, those young people, they don't have any ambition, they don't think, they're just selfish, but I've always maintained that it is we who were the elders before us, and we who are now the elders, who are continuing in the same vein, doing the same things, and expecting different results. And when I listen to grown-ups to some extent making certain statements and not seeming to be aware that we're in a more enlightened age, a more enlightened era, and there are many young individuals out there who are aware of what should take place and how the country should be run, certain things that should be initiatives from the leading or the leader's perspective, and yet still they don't see that, And then we sit down and we say, these young people. Well, we need to say, a lot of us as the older ones have not been setting the right example. And when I listen to some of the statements being made today, I cringe as a grown-up. Hello, good day.
Good day again, friend.
Good day.
I think we run the risk of, going all over the place when it comes to things like this, especially in our politics. We can't solve, for instance, something like the fair share, right? We don't know all the data for one.
That is what I
okay,
said.
and that is right, and that is why we've been screaming to, let's put everything out there.
Yeah.
Let people, who want, make an input, examine. Everybody is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but certainly there are going to be enough people that we can come to some kind of consensus as to the way forward. What we know for a fact, though, is the way forward is not this thing being in the realm of just the leaders, the current leaders of the NIA and the federal government. No, it can't be between two men.
No.
Absolutely not. Okay? And that is the approach they seem to be taking. Right? Which I think is the wrong approach, because they are basically going to be looking at this not from the point of view of what's best for the two islands going into the future, but what's best for their
tenure.
Political, right, their tenure. Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, especially with elections this close.
Yeah.
Right? So it's unfortunate like that both of them seem to be going down the same road.
Yeah.
In terms of that, and one has to wonder if this isn't all part of what has become the transactional nature of our politics.
Yeah.
Okay, where it's no longer about principle, but it's about what's going to work, what I'm going to get away with.
Yeah, what's going to work in my favor.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, and is what we need to get away from. Okay, I mean, I saw, for instance.
Hold just a second. There's another call. Hello, caller.
Hi. Good morning. Peace to you, peace to our nation. God bless us all.
Yes.
I'm just calling in relation to part of the topic about this fair share, whatever you want to call it. But you know, the Constitution set down certain things. One, how to share certain things and who is responsible for what. Then the island administration is responsible for certain things, plus the federal government. But if you check the Constitution, is really good.
But caller, if as you say, and I'm not going to say that it is otherwise, if it is that it is stipulated in the Constitution from your perspective that how the fair share should go, why is it then that we see leaders kicking it down the road or passing it off to others? Why is it that, for instance, what's his name before, the leader before, Timothy Harris? Why is it that Timothy Harris felt that he should seek other advice as to how the fair share should go, as opposed to not dealing with the Constitution? Why is it that this present government now feels they should also put it off to somebody else as opposed to dealing with the Constitution?
I cannot answer for them, but at least I could tell you what the Constitution says. The Constitution
but that's not enough.
Caller, hold a while. Hold a while. Mr. McMahon, you're making a statement. Go ahead.
Yes. What I'm saying is, if the Constitution, if he's saying that it's in the Constitution, it's obvious that the Constitution was not followed.
Yeah.
And it's no point referring to the Constitution if the Constitution is flawed and is not being
utilized,
is not being followed.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with the issue. What you're trying to do is put a plaster on a sore. You're not fixing the problem. You're just basically putting a patch over it.
Because here's what you're saying. Here's what you're saying, caller. Here's what you're saying, caller. Wait, caller. I'm going to let you make your statement. Here's what we're getting from what you're saying. We ask you, well, why is it if the Constitution has this statement, it is not adhered to? And you're saying, well, I can't speak to them. But you're not saying what perhaps you should have said is they should have followed the Constitution. But you're using the easy way out. I can't answer for them. Let me tell you what the Constitution. Go ahead.
No, but you didn't let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
This is where misunderstanding comes in.
Okay.
Because all I mentioned is what the Constitution says. I cannot speak to other persons for what they haven't done.
Yes.
Clear. I could only speak to, if you want to be, I'm Lincoln David Pell, by the way, one of the deputy political leaders for the People's Action Movement.
Yes.
When the People's Action Movement was there, they had the same shit. Everything was going good. But however, what the Constitution does, and a lot of people do not realize, it gives the Nevis Island administration a lot of autonomy. And this is the point that I'm trying to get at. Even though it has a section that deals with distribution where it talk about the population size, it also gives the Nevis Island administration responsibility for many things. Therefore, the Nevis Island administration are responsible for a lot of financial things by itself. That doesn't negate the fact that the federal government has an obligation for the country of St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is where the blurriness might comes in. It is not a St. Kitts government. It's a federal government. So even though Nevis has the autonomy to raise funds and to have its own budget, that is why they have their own budget, to do a lot of things. And therefore, the monies that the Nevis Island administration collects, it's only for the Nevis Island administration. However, every finance, anything that the St. Kitts Nevis government receives is for St. Kitts and the Nevis. And this is where the sharing comes in. But if we understand it clearly, I guess we have persons who could read the Constitution, and you will see, even for education, Nevis Island administration, there are only certain things the federal government has responsible for, national security, and these things. So it's just to let persons know, yes, it might sound good to say Nevis this, but the Constitution is clear. The island of Nevis is responsible for raising a lot of things.
Caller, before you ask him the question, caller, so you're saying from your stance, even though you're saying, you started by saying we should refer to the Constitution, by your statement, you're saying, in your opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, that the Constitution is flawed.
I didn't say that. You see, what we want is like, let me put it this way. You have your rules for your house. And then because I do not like what is there, anything, I'm saying your rules for your house is flawed?
No,
No, I'm not. No, the Constitution is not flawed. We are governed by the Constitution.
But you
If
said
you're saying then, if you're saying that, okay, maybe it's about time for us to revisit certain things in the Constitution, to have amendments, I will agree with you. But to say the Constitution is flawed, then everything else that we're doing is flawed, and we shouldn't go down that road.
But I'm taking it. But I'm taking it from what your statement is, because you went so far as to say we don't have a St. Kitts government, which is what I've been hearing touted. No. But here's a statement that I'm going to make. The last time when Chesley was here, and he's one in the legal faction, I asked him that question off air. I said, people been pushing this thing about the Nevis having a government and St. Kitts not having a government. And he made a statement to me, and I won't reiterate it because I would like him to come back into the studios and make that statement, because I said to him, we need to, the next time you come, we need to delve into that. Because let me tell you, caller, it is not so easy as you say about St. Kitts having a government and Nevis having a government. Because Nevis having a government means Nevis, as you said, has a... But if St. Kitts was to say it wants to have a government, there's a whole lot of other financial aspect that St. Kitts will have to go into, that will not be financially feasible for the governing of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis or the country.
Okay, can I adjust something? Now, Nevis make regulations for Nevis only. But when the federal government sits, all the laws, unless it's specified, all the laws govern St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is the point I'm trying for us to understand. It doesn't matter what we say. There is no government for St. Kitts. There's an island, there's a Nevis Island administration. And put it this way, it's an island administration. And then you have the government of St. Kitts and Nevis that covers both islands. Now, the Constitution is clear, and we have to start with the Constitution so we can start correctly. And that's really the point. It doesn't matter what we believe. The framers and shapers of the Constitution did it that way, back then. If we want to be correct, we could say, okay, during their time, they did what they think was correct. And if we believe there's time for certain amendment or adjustment to be made, then it's for us to do it. But to say the Constitution is flawed and is wrong, it's just like saying the way your parents
caller, you're speaking to an intelligent audience. I'm intelligent, yes, and Mr. McMahon is intelligent. And by everything that you're saying, you are saying indirectly that the Constitution is flawed. That is what you're saying. For you to...
Quinn,
yes.
What you should probably ask him straight out, do you feel that the Constitution is adequate for today, in today's St. Kitts Nevis? Straight out.
So
do you think?
So let him answer. Let him answer you, caller.
I could say there's certain. No, he asked me a question, so I'm answering. Because he told you to ask me, so I'm answering.
Yes.
What I could say, just like how you might see that there might need some adjustment to the Constitution, there might be. But until those changes are made, we have to accept the Constitution as is until the changes are made.
Yes, but you're saying it is flawed.
Until it is changed. No, it is not flawed, and that's what I'm saying. Because
it's not flawed.
You see,
so if
these
it's not
kind
flawed,
of semantics
you're
politics.
saying that you shouldn't change it.
No.
If it's not flawed,
that's it.
The question. When the United States and them came up with their Constitution, as far as the concerned, it was perfect. Until as time progressed, they realized we have to get certain things too with the time. It doesn't mean the Constitution was flawed.
It was flawed.
Of course. Otherwise, they wouldn't change it.
That's it. And these are the kind of semantics that people use that I don't understand.
No, you're asking me my opinion. I'm giving my opinion. The fact is, if you're saying the Constitution is flawed, then there are certain things that are happening now flawed, and we shouldn't go down that road. I mean, there's certain laws.
But obviously, because certain things are happening now, means that something is wrong. So what do you do to fix it?
You revisit it.
What about is the persons who are actually doing, operating the things that are that are actually flawed. What about that?
But that's the whole point.
But that is
the whole point, right? It should not depend. It should not depend on the persons operating it. It should not depend.
I don't want
on
two
the
of you.
person
I don't
managing the
want
phone.
two. I don't want two of you speaking at the same time. So
I cannot hear you. So that's what I'm saying. The question is, the law says maximum miles per hour in St. Nevis is 40 miles per hour. The signs are there, and someone drive 1,000 miles per hour. Okay, 70 miles per hour. Is the law flawed, or is the person actually break the law, offend the law?
that is a whole different scenario there, because no, it is not the same thing. Let me show you where it is not the same. Let me show you where it is not the same thing. As long as the system decides that that stipulation is right, it is going to remain. But if the system sits down and says, you know what, we have X amount of traffic on the road now, we feel that we would have to revisit this and make some changes, it means that then, in that precise moment, that is flawed, and it have to be changed.
No, exactly. Okay. It's not that it's flawed, because you know what? Until, as you mentioned, they just shift to accommodate what is present. It doesn't mean it was flawed.
But they shifted because it is not feasible for the present.
But it doesn't mean when it was then it was flawed.
That's then, but now it is flawed.
Okay. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but what I'm saying, the fact that we have to look at, until the Constitution is changed, until the laws is amended, or whatever amendment is going on, we have to abide by it. It doesn't serve us anywhere to say, oh, it is this, it is that. What happened? Look at what.
But that is what you have to do in order to change things for the better. If you just decide that, well, we're going to follow the flawed Constitution, we'll keep having these recurring problems. So you have to start out from the point of view that we really need some kind of constitutional reform.
Mr. McMahon, listen, he might not be hear you as good to be able to, but whenever you hear him, cease and let us listen to him rather than the two. Yeah, go ahead, caller.
No, I'm not hearing you. Okay, what I'm saying, go to the Constitution, the same section, and go to any law, and you will see. If the law is, because do you know the law, okay, I'm going to put this to you. Do you know the law mentions specifically how wide the roads should be? And do you think they are adequately widened for today's traffic and so forth? Is that flawed, or is it just that we just have to abide, bring in smaller vehicles, or just revisit the law, amend it to have the roads go wider?
If it is that something that was implemented once ago is not feasible now, then technically you can say it is not right, or it is not appropriate for this time, so it is therefore flawed. And that is why you're going to change it. If there was no problem, then you wouldn't change it.
I'm going to let other callers come in and have their way in it as well. But I just wanted to let persons know that we have to abide by the Constitution until it is changed. What is the problem is the persons who are working the system. You could have the most perfect system, but you have persons who are dealing with people who come from different persuasions and think differently. Like I said, the system is perfect. That's it. But it's the people who are working the system. If they feel that certain things should happen, there's nothing wrong with the system. It's the people, because we change it now and you get some other person being like, but why did they change it? Because there is something. What I'm saying is the people, the human factor that determines certain things.
Let him finish. Let him finish, Mr. McMahon.
We shouldn't just look at the system and say it is flawed when it's the people who are actually functioning in those systems that could make it right or wrong, as perfect as you want or not. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Is the police force a brutal force, or just there to enforce the laws and to advise persons and so? Question.
You keep asking questions that I feel aren't really pertinent
It's relevant to this because the laws give the police function to operate to protect life and property and to enforce the law. But if you have a police officer going to misuse and abuse his power on other persons, does that say the law or the police system is flawed? No, that officer is doing something wrong. And that's the point I'm trying to bring out. It's not the system or the law. It's the persons who are enforcing the law who made a mistake or did something incorrectly. And that's just the point. I'm just trying to bring these examples so we could see a bit clearly.
Yeah.
The law wasn't wrong. The police policy is not wrong, but the officer went outside of that and misused and abused his or her power.
Okay, so you're
And
finished?
neglect his or her duty.
Yeah.
I would say to the caller, right, that
I'm not saying it clearly.
history is replete with examples of bad laws. We can think of lots of laws which were bad. Lesser laws basically legalizing slavery and so on.
Yeah.
Obviously bad.
Yeah.
Right? And what I think that the caller has not come to grips with, and maybe it's because his organization was instrumental in designing the Constitution at the outset, okay? And he does not want to admit that when that Constitution was designed, it was designed with the interests of the parties and not the country in mind. Okay? One of the things I think is necessary, why we keep having problems and why the opposition is having so much problem in really galvanizing support. One, there is no confession that they've made mistakes in the past. Two, there is no contrition that they're sorry to have done that. And thirdly, there is no atonement. That is making sure that things are fixed so that these things are taken care of for the benefit of the future of the country. There isn't that.
Watch here. This is my take because I don't disagree with him completely, but at the same time, where we went on what he was saying, and no matter how he may try to cut it, and this is why when people listen to other people, you should listen all the way, not listen to a point and then be distracted, because if you're distracted momentarily in your comeback, they change their stance and they come back and then you buy into it. What he's saying in the end has no relevance to what we were saying before. Because if you have a officer who goes contrary to something that you don't feel is wrong, then that's on the officer. But he himself, by his statement, has said over and over on more than 3 occasions that we don't have a St. Kitts government. And until we go and change that, it's going to remain the same. But yet still, he doesn't want to admit that the Constitution is flawed.
Exactly.
No, but here's my premise, though. I don't believe the Constitution is flawed. This is where you will disagree with me, Mr. McMahon, because I follow certain things. And when that Constitution that gives Nevis certain autonomy was put into place, it was like when affirmative action was put into place, because Nevis felt it didn't have any recourse. You look at St. Kitts and you look at Nevis, and you saw the development on Nevis was way behind what St. Kitts was getting. And so when you had a leader who is now a national hero who decided, no, this cannot go on. I want stipulation in this Constitution that gives me some autonomy, right? You can't be dealing with everything and taking all the revenue and we're not getting anything. And so that is why the Constitution was laid out the way it is laid out. And ever since the Constitution was laid out to give Nevis autonomy, people on St. Kitts have had a problem with it. And they have come with the semantics that, well, Nevis has a government and St. Kitts don't have a government. But yet still all the laws and all the and the tax gathering and everything happens down here. We control the coffers.
No, but Clint, you know where the unfairness started?
Where?
Clause 113.
That gives them the right.
Which gave Nevis the right to secede. So you're telling me that in itself is not skewed in favor of Nevis?
It is skewed.
So I think it's don't have no right to
it is skewed in favor of St. Kitts. But again, I go back to the parent thing. If I'm a parent, I have 4 children, and I'm abusing the children, and the legal system comes and says, I'm going to put something in place to protect those children from you, the parent. Then when that gets put in place, the parent, start to argue that I don't have a system where I can segregate myself from my children. What sense does that make? It is my onus as a parent to look after my children. But if I abuse my children, there is a system.
That's a terrible example.
Oh, you mean there's a terrible example?
Because you're basically saying, and that has been Nevis's point from day one. Nevis want to be treated not like no sibling, no child, okay? And St. Kitts should not treat Nevis as a child, okay? What we want is some equity in the system if the two islands are to move forward together.
Where has there not been equity? Where has St. Kitts been disadvantaged? St. Kitts' disadvantage only came in when Nevis got something. That is what I'm saying.
But exactly, and when they got something, they opted to throw out the revenue sharing things in the Constitution, didn't they?
Well, that is a flaw on their side. That is a flaw on their side. I agree there's a flaw on their side because, and I'm sure it has come back to haunt them because, again, it comes down to selfishness. But I am saying that as a parent, until that child reaches where it can do on its own, you have to look after the child. That is my analogy.
You mean look after? What you're saying is the obligation of St. Kitts to look after the affairs of Nevis?
Yes.
No, it is not.
So
it is not.
So who looks after Nevis when we're taking all the money? When we're taking all the money?
Nevis does. That's the whole point, you know.
Mr. McMahon, that only happened. Mr. McMahon, that only happened when this constitution was changed to give Nevis autonomy. Prior to that, the St. Kitts government was taking everything and not giving Nevis the benefit.
Yeah, but
that is what I'm saying.
We're talking post-independence. We're talking now. Yes. Okay? And I'm saying, right, that Nevis has a responsibility to look out for Nevis. And to say that St. Kitts have a responsibility to look out for Nevis is going to be a source of forever friction.
Because we
don't have a proper federation in the first place. That's the problem.
So what is the proper? Look,
you can't have a Nevisian identity, right? And that St. Kitts Nevis identity. There is no such thing. You either have a Nevisian identity and a St. Kitts identity, or you have a St. Kitts.
What you said just now has no merit because there's a Nevisian identity and there's a St. Kitts identity. People born on Nevis, people born on Nevis are Nevisians. People born on St. Kitts are Kittitians. I am a Kittitian. Nevisians are Nevisians. So what you said just now has no merit.
But I'm saying that ideal is not expressed in the Constitution, because the Constitution basically talks about a St. Kitts Nevis, and it talks about a Nevis. It does not talk about St. Kitts.
So you want you want St. Kitts who, this is where I don't understand the rationale of human beings, you know. You want St. Kitts who controls everything to do what? It is unfair. It is unfair for Nevis. Nevis only started to see certain developments when this constitution was put in place, you know.
Yes, that is what we're talking about.
So that's what I'm saying. So if it wasn't, and it was just as it was before, Nevis would still be way behind us. Now, if you're telling me, and here's where I will agree with you, that certain individuals on the Nevis end have not abused certain things to their extent and said, well, okay, we're not going to share this when it was shared before, and then when they get into a squeeze, they want us to share with them. I can agree with you on that. But it comes down to, but it comes down to human greed and selfishness.
But what is a constitution supposed to do? Isn't it supposed to limit that or deal with that human greed and selfishness? Isn't it supposed to express the desires, the dreams, the aspirations of the peoples who are governed by that constitution?
But you see,
and if it doesn't do that, then the constitution isn't worth its salt.
You see, this is
and
where...
it is flawed.
But you see...
And that is what we're trying to avoid. The whole idea is that the constitution was bad from the beginning.
You see, Mr. McMahon, that is the problem with humanity. Rather than us as human beings doing what we know is right and wrong, we want to put things on paper that decide what is right and wrong, and then when it inconveniences us, we say, well, that isn't right and that is wrong. But if we as rational human beings would treat people the way they should be treated, we wouldn't be walking down the road where, as far as I'm concerned, every constitution is flawed then. Every constitution anywhere in the world is flawed.
But no. I disagree. What we're saying here is our constitution, our federation is a unique. Can you think of any other constitution like ours?
I am not an authority.
It would be interesting to research that.
I am not
because what I'm saying, we're not a truly a federation, you know.
Anyway, we're going to
have
to...
This is not how federation
Mr.
McMahon,
Mr. McMahon, hold on a while. I'm going to let you make your final statement, but we're up to 12 o'clock, so we're going to have to wrap it up. But I was going to say, I'm not an authority on constitutions, but what I can tell you, anywhere where I see like St. Kitts Nevis, Antigua Barbuda, Trinidad and Tobago, I see the same problems. The smaller islands always complain that they are not treated fairly, and truthfully so, because the bigger islands, and that is the thing, you know, because we're not.
But they don't claim to be a federal system like ours.
Yeah, well,
that's the whole point. We don't have a federation.
Then if we are a federal system or a federation, then we should act like one.
Exactly, and in acting like one, just like how there's an NIA, there should be a SIA.
And that is where
just
Mr.
like how
this is
just
where
like
Mr.
how
Chesley.
There's a 113, just like how there's a 113 for Nevis. There should be one for St. Kitts as well.
This is
just
where
like
Mr.
how
Chesley.
There's a division identity. There should be a St. Kitts identity as well.
And you who have studied
equity, that is what we want.
And you who have studied along some trends that I have not, you should not be making that statement, because you know then, as Chesley stated, that it then means that just how you then have to have governing bodies for every aspect, which means bigger government, bigger monies to spend here, there, and there.
That is not a given.
It is not a given.
It is not a given.
But hear what you
said.
said.
We arrange our affairs. We have a huge government now. We have a huge government now, and it's arguable whether or not we're getting bang for the buck from this size government.
So you don't have a problem
making
it bigger?
The idea isn't to make it bigger. It is not to make it bigger. It all depends on how we arrange our government and its operations. It does not necessarily mean that it has to be bigger. That's a fallacy that is put there to stop people from thinking that
So we're going to close right now. So if it doesn't mean it's going to be bigger, all of these factions you're speaking about where we need our own this and we need our own that, how you're going to govern our own different this and different that, how you're going to govern those different things, just the same way how Nevis has them.
Yeah, what about it?
How are you going to govern them when you have?
How you mean how we going to how you mean how we
So
going to govern
so
them?
you're
Right
saying
now,
so you're
right
saying
now,
okay.
Right now, don't we have for each, basically for almost for all the ministries in St. Kitts, you have when I say all the ministries in St. Kitts, in the federal government, you have identical ones in Nevis anyway.
So will we need?
So why,
so
so
will
why
we
do you
need?
think it's going to be bigger?
So let me ask you this: so will we need a different ministry, a local Ministry of Finance, other than this that exists?
But isn't that what exists right now?
But if it is what exists, why then are we saying that we want a different thing? That is what I'm saying.
Because the Ministry of Finance in St. Kitts, right, according to the Federal Ministry of Finance, so to speak, right, governs affairs in both St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yes.
When we make decisions on whether or not, for instance, whether it's laptop assistance or PAP or whatever, or peace or whatever, right? Nevis is included in that.
Yes.
But Nevis at the same time has its own Ministry of Finance that deals with its financial affairs.
So that is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying, Mr. McMahon. Mr. McMahon, you're not listening to me. Mr. McMahon, I'm saying, I follow you. You're saying that the federal government looks after St. Kitts Nevis, Nevis look after Nevis. So then I am saying, so then it means that we need a different Ministry of Finance that deals with St. Kitts affairs. And you're saying, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So then, when you get a different Ministry of Finance apart from the federal finance, then aren't you going to have to get different individuals to govern that?
But what I'm saying is, you have that right now. Don't you have a Minister of Finance who deals with financial affairs in St. Kitts? It just so happens that they deal with certain aspects in Nevis as well. So what I'm saying is, it's not as if you're going to triple the ministries. You already have ministries in St. Kitts that overlaps ministries in Nevis.
So you're saying then,
you see what I'm saying?
So you're saying then that, let's be hypothetical. You're saying that the present federal government will then have a different body that deals with St. Kitts finances. And if that is the case, don't you see a conflict of interest where these down here who are from St. Kitts are looking over St. Kitts aspect and still looking over the federal aspect? Don't you see that? Don't you see where that is? Don't you see where that is going to be a conflict?
Now with Nevis, but don't you have that in Nevis right now, where the NIA looks over solely the interests of Nevis?
But that is what I'm
saying.
saying.
What's wrong
Mr. McMahon, I am saying to bring it, and I'm going to have to break right now, to bring it to a head, you're going to have to make a bigger government no matter how you try to spin it and turn it.
And I am saying no. I am saying no. I am saying that I am sure professionals could work out a situation.
And professionals can't even work out the federal system, federal looking after St. Kitts and Nevis, even though you control everything. Professionals can't do that.
They're not even trying.
Anyway,
what I'm saying though, you're not going to have a bigger government, because right now you do have ministers looking after the interests in St. Kitts, and similarly you have ministers looking after the interests of Nevis. And
so then we don't need so you fall
Uh-huh.
right into what I'm saying. So we don't need what you're proposing then. Let's move with what we have and just be fair. That is what I've been saying all along.
But being fair means that you should have a St. Kitts identity too. That's what I'm saying.
Anyway,
right?
we're going to have to continue this. We're going to have to continue this because we're 9 minutes over time for the midday news. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
You found the sound. 98.9 Win FM.